Alright, so it's been a very hectic week. Hey, I'm Pascal from Orangepixel. Been all over the place this week, so this video is probably gonna be all over as well. Usually I create a video based on the stuff I do in a week. This week, like I said, it's hectic. I've been doing different things for different projects. Eventually I also created some cool pixel art, and we're gonna probably wrap up the video showing the creation of that pixel art in a minute. So make sure to don't go anywhere, and we'll dive into the bunch of things I've been doing. So game development is of course about creating games, but there's so much other stuff that goes on, and sometimes that's fun, sometimes it isn't. This week I think I enjoyed myself. It's just very hard to create a good topic for this video. Let's try it anyway after the intro. My MacBook. I actually updated my MacBook this week. So why am I updating the Mac? Pretty much I had to update the Mac OS version so that I could update the Xcode version, and you need Xcode to deliver and create iOS versions for the App Store. The new Xcode version would not run on the old Mac OS version I had, for whatever reason. Once that's updated, I'll need to update libgdx, need to update my source code for my games so that everything for the new iOS stuff is in there and the games will run perfectly again on iOS, because Apple has been slowly removing games from the App Store. Not just my games, but games and apps from everybody that have not been updated for a while and have very low download numbers. So up to this point I never really cared about that. They were touching games that were just not updated and they were not gonna be updated. But now they're touching Gunslugs and also Stardash. Stardash is already gone, I think. Gunslugs is about to be gone on the App Store. But these games are still part of my live catalog of games. I'm still updating them, still doing sales with these games. Even though they're a decade old or more, they are still, they should not be gone. So I want them updated and available on the App Store. I also want Residual to come to mobile. For that I also needed to update the Mac. So a bunch of reasons. In the end, on Tuesday I started updating the Mac, and it took so long to download macOS and everything else that I forgot it was behind me while I was working here. It was updating over there. Forgot all about it. The macOS version is now updated, so next phase will be Xcode and everything else. That's just phase one. And also the first thing I did this week, another thing. Serious Lion pretty much already got all the changes I made for the residual inventory up and running on the Switch build. So let's just quickly dive into the inventory. This is going to be the new inventory screen. It's much bigger, much clearer, it's much more defined, and it has a bunch of cool features like the quick access. And really, I've been playing this game for a while again, and even on Switch last night I was playing it all night. The quick access is just gonna change the experience you have in a new mission so much. It pretty much 90% of the time that you need something, quick access will have it for you, ready to go and ready to use it. Every now and then you might have to browse to it, but at that point in the game you probably already know what is going on and everything else. So yeah, very happy. All the changes are in. Still made a couple of new changes to the game, and they're coming to Switch as well. So another productive thing, and well done Serious Lion. Also been creating pages for Regulator City. The GDWC, what even is it? Game Development World Championship. I've honestly never heard of it, but I added Regulator City there. No idea if it's gonna help or work. I'll put a link in the description. I think you can like that page and that will help somehow promote it. Not sure, but the page is up. Beside that, I've also created a page over on IndieDB. Most of my games have pages here. I just didn't get around to this one, but now Regulator City is up on this page, and of course you should also go to that page. Again, link in the description. Just visiting makes this game go up in ranking, I think. Like visits today is 138, but that's obviously because I just created it, so it's somewhere on the front page. Rank 28 of 60,000, which is not bad. One member, somebody's watching and tracking the game, which is great. I'll post all the updates here as well, just like I do on Steam. Of course, also been tinkering with the Steam page and getting it ready for the demo. So that's a lot of Regulator City stuff. Just, well, this is what I call admin stuff. And usually I do these things on a Monday because you can just sit back, put on some TV, relax and tinker with all these things, upload some images, some videos and link to things. And this is part of my admin Monday stuff. So that's a bunch of tiny little things I've been doing all over the place. Luckily, I also found some time to work on Regulator City. Most of my work right now is making sure the demo version that goes out on Steam Next Fest is as solid as can be so that it attracts most people. Not everybody's going to be able to see through the fact that there's just a bunch of stuff missing and needs to be added and more content, and we only have a couple of levels in there. But hopefully, if I do my job right, most people will enjoy the demo and start following and wishlisting the game. Link in the description below. Again, so this week was not a huge amount of difficult work. I just wanted to have a little bit of fun, so I started adding a fire hydrant to the game. It doesn't have a real function just yet. Maybe it won't even have a function at all. It just looks funny and interesting. I wanted to see if I could create one. So first thing we're gonna do is Google how a fire hydrant actually looks. I have a rough idea how it looks. I just want to make sure I have a correct picture before I dive in. So let's Google search for a fire hydrant. Yeah, it's not a very difficult shape. There's just all these things are pretty much the same. We're just gonna grab a good image, and then we're gonna draw based on that. I think I could draw this from memory, to be honest, but yeah, we're just gonna draw this, but in pixel art. Let's go. Okay, so that's our fire hydrant. The water splash, I just created a mock-up version now with a nice bow in it, but that's not gonna happen, pretty sure. We're gonna use some sort of bullet type for the water, which will pretty much make it go straight until it hits something, which is the easiest way to program this. And of course you could do a very nice bow and all that stuff, but you probably have to do it in animation, and I don't want to spend that much time on animating or drawing that many pixels. And it's just a fire hydrant on the street. It doesn't have much use. So let's keep it simple. Let's just quickly add some straight going water to it. So it's gonna look like water, but this is just gonna be a bullet in code, except it doesn't hurt you. Let's create one. So a very simple, straightforward water, vertical little slices, and I just drew it once and then mirrored it, vertically mirrored it, so that I have two different animation frames, and if you alter them quickly enough, it looks interesting. I will probably clean it up a little bit before I have this in the game. But yeah, this is how I like to work. Create graphics that look okay and decent. See if it actually adds something to the game, if it works like this, and if it does, and there's time left, usually is, we clean it up, make it a little bit prettier, and tweak it until it's perfect enough to move on to the next stuff. And again, final time I'm gonna mention this. This is just a side thingy in the game, no importance whatsoever. So don't waste too much time on things like this. And now that we have that water flowing out, we're gonna do a little animation just to make that splash at the top where it comes out of the fire hydrant, just because that looks more interesting. So all animations are in, all the water is drawn, fire hydrant code is written. I don't want to show code on this channel. Not that this is a lot of secret code, it's just very simple code and doesn't make much sense to show it. Every game does this differently. I just have an entity, part of all the entities in the game. It's just a static thing. When you shoot it a couple of times, it will start shooting out water bullets, and this is how it looks. Right, needed a little sorting, as you might have noticed. The splash was being rendered or drawn behind the fire hydrant, and just we needed to order that correctly. Now that it is, I think it's missing one more thing. We now have all this water coming out of it in the front, which is very useful because we can do something with that, like push away the player or enemies and things like that. But for visual effect, I want some water coming out at the top. So let's create one more animation. We got some time, and let's do it. That's a fairly nice animation. Quick thing, many people will do this without all the colors and shading. First you animate it in a single color, and then you start adding the details. That's probably a much better way to do it. But yeah, this is how I do it. I just started filling in the colors and everything so that I have the first frame completely how I want it, and then modify it a little bit. It's probably easier to do this in one color. I would advise you, if you're starting to do pixel art, animations in one color. That whole animation, that's a lot easier to do, and then start filling it in with details. The end result is still pretty much this. Alright, and that's a fire hydrant in Regulator City. Perfect ending for a chaotic and messy week. This is just a tiny thing that I didn't have to add to the game, but I needed something to work on that was fun and not that important, so that even if I was messing it up or screwing it up, it would be no problem. I would have just deleted and destroyed all of this. But in a chaotic week, every now and then you need to do something very light, and this was a great solution. So lots of stuff covered in this week's video, and that was pretty much my week. I probably forgot about a bunch of things I've been doing, but I can't remember I did them, I think. So thanks for watching this chaotic video, and I hope you'll be watching next week's video, and hopefully it will be less chaotic. I hope. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below, check out the links in the description to all the things I've been doing, and see you next week. Bye.